Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. Got my Sharks hat on. I've got my playoff beard going. Yes, I'm cheering for the Sharks, who are now up 2-0 in the second round of the playoffs against the Detroit Red Wings. We'll say no more, but I'm in their corner. Back to the world of baseball, which you're all here for. Some troubling news for the Royals. Now, Alex Gordon has obviously not lived up to the billing when he was a top pick in the first round a couple of years ago. He's been resent to the minor leagues. He's now going to work at left field and first base. Apparently the team isn't confident that he can handle third base or that there will be a spot for him at the big league club at third base. It should help his versatility, obviously, to be able to play multiple positions. This is good for him personally. But again, it's just another indication that the Royals really don't think that Gordon has much of a career with them. Probably going to have to move him to another club before we see him get a chance to really run out there every day and get an opportunity to live up to that billing that had him as a top pick years ago. Now, the move also, in conjunction with this, was Micah Viez being called up. Yuniesky Betancourt was off to a great start at shortstop with the bat. He's really struggled the past week or so. His average has plummeted down into the 270s. Viez can hit. He's been a 300 hitter pretty much everywhere he's ever played. Some questions about whether his elbow is sound after that Tommy John surgery or not. But don't be at all surprised if Viez starts getting some at-bats, and if he starts to get rolling, be more and more involved in that lineup and be a very good option in AL-only leagues. What's going on in Philadelphia? Well, we had Ryan Madson struggling in the closer's role. He kicked something, broke his toe. Now it looks like he's going to have surgery. We don't have an estimation of when he'll be back on the field from that. Obviously, though, if you think he's having surgery on that big toe, we're probably looking at least a month, if not longer. Recovery time, you obviously need your feet to help plant when you're pitching. What are they going to do in the ninth inning? Well, Brad Lidge isn't ready, and Charlie Manuel basically came out and said, look, Brad Lidge isn't ready to be our closer right now, so this is probably a situation where we're going to see a lot of mixing and matching with the Phillies. Now, there is some talk about Dennis Baez, maybe getting some work there. Of course, Baez, though he had good numbers last year, was actually a lot of luck, a lot of ground ball stuff that really played into that. Really didn't deserve some of the numbers he had. This year, his ERA is over 8. His strikeout to walk ratio is below 1. He has just not been good. A whip of 1.5. You have to think, therefore, that the Phillies lean on, in the majority of cases, Jose Contreras. I know it sounds crazy, but in 6 2/3 innings thus far for the Phillies, he's been their best pitcher. 12 strikeouts, not a single walk. He's probably never pitched a ninth inning in his life in a closer's role. Looks like he'll be the guy short term, but look for Lidge to continue to get stronger and to move back into that role, hopefully in short order for the Phillies. Also, Phillies, I should mention Jimmy Rollins. Bad news with Jimmy Rollins and that ankle of his. Looks like he's been cleared to do some things, but he still says he's really far away. They're not hopeful of him returning anytime in the next couple of weeks. It's a situation where we probably won't see Rollins back until the end of May, maybe mid to late May, if things go well. But look for him to be out at least another couple of weeks, potentially up to 6 weeks in total for that sprained ankle of his. Another player with an injury issue is Joe Mauer with the Twins. Now, Mauer's got an issue with his heel. It was originally day-to-day. Now it's week-to-week. And I don't know about you, but when I hear week-to-week, I think disabled list. There hasn't been a statement definitively that he will be placed on the disabled list. They're going to give him a couple days and see if that heel calms down. Obviously, it's a huge concern with the catcher. Any problem with the lower half, it's something that's going to drag on and on. It's why I always caution people against spending big bucks in an auction or an early draft pick on a catcher in standard mixed leagues in the snake format, because you just don't know when these catchers are going to get hurt. It's such a tough position to play. Wilson Ramos looks like he'll get the majority of work behind the plate for those of you in AL-only leagues looking to fill that spot. Again, we'll keep our fingers crossed that Mauer doesn't end up on the disabled list, but it's starting to look like a real possibility. Javier Vazquez with the Yankees, the other big-name team on the East Coast. Well, he's going to have his next turn in the rotation skipped. Not a surprise at all. He's been awful this year. They didn't want him to face the Red Sox, which is probably a good decision. He'll have his next start pushed back till Monday. Maybe they'll spot something in video. Maybe they'll spot something in the sidelines to be able to work through some issues. With his history of success, basically he's been the most consistent pitcher in baseball. You can make the argument, actually, over the past decade. You have to think he'll rebound at some point. I think that makes him a great buy low value. But every start that he makes, every time he continues to have problems throwing strikes, and each time he goes out and that fastball velocity is in the 89-mile-an-hour range instead of 92, 93, those concerns with Vazquez will continue to grow. What was going on with the hard thrower from the Giants? Brian Wilson in the ninth inning? He should be fine. He's got a little bit of a groin issue. The team, as well as Wilson, said, hey, look, it's not a big deal. He should be back out there closing ball games for the Giants this week. Feel free to have him active in your lineup this week if you're in a weekly league. Affeldt and Romo are the two names to remember there in San Francisco. Something does happen to Wilson, something unexpectedly, such as a reoccurrence or a re-injuring of that groin or any other mishap. I would think Affeldt would be the lead, even though he's left-handed, because of all the success he had last year and because of his ability to induce the ground ball. But again, Brian Wilson should be fine. He should be active this week. That groin injury of his just isn't that severe. And then finally, what do you do with guys like John Garland and Doug Fister? Now, I know last week I wrote an article, which pitchers you should avoid, or should you avoid, and that's at baseballguys.com. You can scroll down and give that a look right now if you want to read that article. And those are two of the guys I mentioned, Fister and Garland, in that piece, and said, hey, get rid of these guys. Well, they both look great in their last outing, which just reinforces my original opinion, sell them now. Pitchers that don't strike batters out, that have trouble keeping the walks in check, pitchers like this, they just have a tendency to have really good stretches and then really putrid stretches. Right now, they're both doing great. Don't be afraid to ride them while they're hot, but also don't be afraid to move them if someone comes and gives you a trade offer of something of value, because guys like that just don't project that well long term. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. It's baseballguys.com. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to y'all again soon.